Hey everybody, welcome to my booth. I'm Jay, this is Chris. We're going to listen to his sample in a second. And of course, it's been a minute. I missed a couple weeks. I was on vacation. It was lovely. Glad to be back. Before we dive into Chris's sample, as always, if you want me to review your audio just like this, there's a form in the description. Send me something. There's coaching on my website if you prefer that. And if you want VIP priority access to this feedback, just like Chris here, you can check out the booth buddies down below. Never necessary, always appreciated. Spiel done. Chris is looking for just general feedback, but has a specific high pass filter question about his mic processing, so we'll keep an ear out. Go.
There's something special about coming home. The smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter in the kitchen. It's where the little things become everything. At Hearth and Home, we believe comfort should never be a luxury. That's why we craft furniture that feels as good as it looks, for real life and real moments. Hearth and Home, made for living.
Chris, I could listen to you for days, my friend. Really nice work. The music bed sounds great. Your audio quality sounds really stellar as well. Regarding your question about high pass filter, for those of you who want to know the specifics of it, Chris was asking if his high pass filter is set at 78 hertz. Very precise. And this is what a high-pass filter is for those who don't know. I've got videos on it if you're curious. But Chris was curious if this is too high, too low, if it sounds all right, yada, yada, yada. And admittedly, I think it sounds just fine as it is, but it's kind of hard to hear specifically with the music bed. So just to be transparent about that. But all in all, I think your audio in terms of your VO sounds good. Now, in terms of performance, the fun stuff, let's dive into it. Specifics. I think it's a great read, and it could totally play. I can hear this on the radio, on TV. It would totally play as is. So some of this is my subjective opinion. Some of it's things that I think might just elevate your read in a way. And some, I mean, you can just take or leave. You can take or leave all of it if you want, but these are my thoughts. So let's just listen to it again, and I'll stop and start as we go.
There's something special about coming home.
So in that one, my big note for a lot of this is when it kind of goes to the same thing that I say to a lot of folks, where there's playing to the tone of the piece versus the things that you're saying having the weight and meaning that they do. So in this one, this is me riding a razor's edge here, but when you say something special about coming home, I'm curious what image is going into your mind there, because for me, if I'm like, there's something special about coming home, I'm imagining specific stuff, versus if I'm playing to the tone of, this is going to be a very relaxing, very luxurious experience, and there's something special about coming home. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I feel as though, and my instinct is, we can have more heart to it, just a dash of salt to add the heartbeat beneath it. So if I'm imagining walking into through the doors of my parents' house at Christmas time, the whole vibe of this thing feels very Christmassy to me. And if I imagine that, I walk in, I imagine the Christmas tree standing right there to my right, the smell of the tree itself, hear the clinking of stuff in the kitchen around the corner, hear people chatting, laughing, that whole thing. And then if I say, there's something special about coming home, there's just heart to it. And I don't think that yours is lacking that here necessarily, but I would be curious if we were to invest more in that, what it would sound like. So let's keep going.
There's something special about coming home. The smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter in the kitchen.
Laughter in the kitchen again. So yeah, the smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter in the kitchen. You're nailing the tone, and again, I think that this plays beautifully as is, and I'm just curious if there's a specific coffee that you have in mind, if there's a specific laugh of a specific person that you have in mind as you're saying this.
It's where the little things become everything. At Hearth and Home.
And what do you mean by that? The little things become everything. What specific things are you thinking about? And one thing that can help with ads like this is, if they give you a production deck or a storyboard of the commercial, if this is going to play on TV. For those of you who don't know, a production deck or storyboard are like images that they've mocked up for the actual commercial shoot, or sometimes they're just still images, or sometimes you get the full rough cut of the commercial without your voiceover. And it shows you basically the vibe of what's going on, and that can be helpful. So if you get the production deck or the storyboard, and when they say,
it's where the little things become everything.
If there's a picture of, a kid hanging out, and you're like, well, that's what that means. And I'm talking about this child, my niece, my nephew, my cousin, my own child, whatever it is. That can have one sort of emotional context in my own heart, and then when I deliver it, it will have that. Or am I just talking about the coffee and laughter here? And maybe we go to cookies and the little things, or my favorite mug. It's where the little things mean everything. And the beauty is, even if you don't get the production deck, the storyboard, you can decide that with your own imagination. You can bring that to your read and just come up with it. Because once you book it, they'll tell you what it's actually going to be about or what they want it to be about. Who cares? But in your audition, if you're like, where the little things mean everything, if you don't get any context beyond the script, just spend the time to be like, well, what little things matter to me? For me, it's when my cat comes and curls up next to me on the couch, when that means everything. Let's keep going.
At Hearth and Home, we believe comfort should never be a luxury. That's why we craft furniture that feels as good as it looks, for real life and real moments.
So this little section here is interesting because it offers us a lot of opportunities for subtle nuances, all in the same vein of what are we specifically thinking about. So Hearth and Home, we're talking about furniture. Fantastic. What's your favorite piece of furniture? Where am I drinking coffee? Where am I drinking the coffee on? Where am I laughing with these people? All that stuff. All this information from before feeds into the moments that we're talking about in a way. But also,
that's why we craft furniture that feels as good as it looks.
That feels as good as it looks. When you say feels as good as it looks, I want to feel you sitting in that chair, my friend, sitting on that chair and all that jazz. And as good as it looks, clearly, my guess is that this is a TV commercial because they'll be like, look at this chair. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's a chair right there. And so when you say it feels as good as it looks, that's a different take. But the difference there where it's when you sit in this, it looks fantastic and it feels just as good as it looks right there. Anyway, I think you catch my drift.
For real life and real moments.
And then real life and real moments, the same thing. It's really, really important, particularly with vague, sort of broad, sweeping commercials and reads like this, where it's like, real life. Well, what the hell does real life mean? And so in the context of this commercial, you're like, okay, real life. Baking cookies for my family. The list goes on. The laughter of a child in the other room, building a puzzle with the people I love, real life, real moments. Those specifics are going to send it over the top.
Hearth and home, made for living.
And the other thing that I just want to point out, this is a super small technical thing, but this is partially what keyed me into the tone versus heart conversation to, I can't remember what I call it more generally. But if we listen to just the end of a lot of these phrases.
Coming home, coffee, fresh coffee, in the kitchen.
They're all going, coming home, coffee, the kitchen.
Little things become everything.
Everything. So they're all inflecting down, which it happens often, but the downward inflection more generally, it lends itself to just terminating the energy. So with the end of each of these phrases, you're kind of putting us to bed with each of these little things, each of these little moments. And so a difference would be if we take just these two lines.
The smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter in the kitchen.
I think that you get away with it because you're doing it so well, but simply because it happens often in this thing, I just wanted to raise awareness here. But the smell of fresh, so right now if I inflect down, the smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter in the kitchen, the sound of laughter in the kitchen, versus the smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter in the kitchen. It's not a downward inflection, but I'm still kind of sending it off. The smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter in the kitchen. You can kind of lift it that way if you want. That's me being pretty nitpicky, but I wanted to raise it as it's a good way to just technically listen back and be like, okay, is my read sending the energy through the thing? Is it all connected, or am I ending each phrase because this feels right to end each phrase in this way? And usually if you're inflecting down like that, some part of the flow in between phrases, you can dial it up a little bit in certain ways. Anywho, I hope that's helpful for you, my friend, and thanks for submitting. Everybody else out there, what are you waiting for? Submit some stuff. And until the next one of these, everybody, be well, and I'll see you there. Toodles.